We have a 1993 Ford Ranger, and we're going to go through the steps in order to replace the fuel pump. One of the first things you want to do before doing any repairs to the fuel system is bleed the pressure off the system. Be sure and capture any fuel in a safe container. You always want to disconnect the negative battery cable before doing any repairs. In order to do a proper fuel pump replacement, we need to clean the inside of the tank, and that will require the removal of the tank. To ease in the removal of the filler hose from the tank, we'll disconnect the filler tube from the body. Remove the fuel tank shield. Be sure and support the tank while removing the straps. Lower the tank slightly in order to gain access to the filler hose. Loosen the clamp and remove the hose from the tank. On this vehicle, the fuel filler hose runs inside the vent hose. Remove the fuel line retainer clips and discard. Replacement clips will be provided with the new Airtex fuel pump. Disconnect the fuel lines. Keep in mind there may be some residual pressure. Be sure and capture this in a safe container. Now disconnect the electrical connection. Disconnect the emissions tube. With all lines disconnected, we can now remove the tank from the vehicle. You always want to be sure and clean the outside of the tank before removing the module. This will reduce the risk of contaminants getting in the tank. With the outside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we're now ready to remove the old hanger assembly. In order to remove the locking ring from this tank, you'll be required to use a special spanner wrench. These are attainable at any parts store. Remove the fuel pump hanger assembly and tank seal. At this point, we need to drain the remaining fuel into a safe container and then clean the inside of the tank. We want to be sure that the tank is as clean as possible to allow a clean environment for the fuel pump. Now that we've thoroughly cleaned the inside of the tank, we're ready to install the new Airtex fuel pump hanger assembly. We now install the new tank seal. Note the locating tabs on the hanger, also the corresponding indentions in the top of the tank. With the hanger assembly in the tank, we'll now install the locking ring, using a spanner wrench turning it clockwise. We're going to install the fuel line retainer clips into the fuel lines before we raise the tank into position. You'll notice that there are two different size fuel lines. Be sure and install the black retainer clip into the large line fitting. Start raising the tank into position. With the tank partially raised, reconnect the emissions tube. Install the electrical connection. Reconnect the fuel line fittings. Install the fuel filler tube and vent line on the tank. Completely raise the tank and reinstall tank strap. Reinstall tank shield into position. With the tank installation complete, reattach the filler tube to the body. Connect negative battery cable. Cycle the key 2 to 3 times in order to charge the system. Start the vehicle and monitor fuel pressure, making sure it's within vehicle specifications. Now before we remove our pressure gauge, we'll shut the vehicle off and bleed the pressure using our pressure gauge, making sure to capture any fuel into a safe container.